is for you if you are looking for information about divine sexuality, the energy, the spiritual aspect of what it means for two beings coming together. And I'm going to talk a little bit about my own past life memories regarding this. And also, I want to read this post that I found on. In fact, I've linked it on my Patreon. I'll try and put a link on under this video as well to the original post. And obviously, I'll tell you when I'm ad-libbing. But I thought that this was perfect in the way that this speaks about it. Okay, so I'm going to read it to you, and I'm going to ad-lib as we go, if my app doesn't want to keep crashing. Right, so truth about sex. Let's talk about sex, baby. As salt and pepper we're on about. So, sacred energy exchange. Firstly, it's important for energy hygiene. Our own energy fields, when you walk into, as we know from HeartMath, when you walk into a room, is a good example of this, and that expression, you can cut the air with a knife. You feel the presence of that other person's field because you're walking into their field. And scientifically, we've now proven those fields. The heart field that goes around us, there's ECG machines can pick up this, and our technology is now helping us to understand our own energy fields on a deeper level when you come together with someone. I've released one of the video I did yesterday. We've been working with my members through this book here, the Tay of Tantric Arts for Women, Cultivating Sexual Energy, Love and Spirit. And this is about understanding your energy so you can manifest better, because the Jing energy, the sexual energy, the creation energy creates life. That's the energy that manifests into the reality. And that energy has been distorted for thousands of years. When it's out of sync, it's in distortion. But this is an amazing book by Milka DeVos, and she talks about the practices that we use and the understanding the energy that we use in Qigong, in particular for women. So obviously there are men. It doesn't mean that if you're a man that this information isn't informative, but it's not. If you're thinking you're going to get pervy images coming up, and then this is not for you. I'm afraid. In fact, the whole channel is not for you. Wait. So, truth about sex. Sacred energy exchange. Had to share this with you because this resonates so deeply with my memories of the sacred divine sexual energy and how it was used for healing. Now, in my past life, I remember the Temple of Anaya. I remember how we were taught to, as priestesses, to enact this energy of the sacred masculine, the sacred feminine. It was cultivated in a sacred fashion, and we would utilize that healing of sexual energy for not just creation, but for healing the soul in profound ways. It wasn't till later that became a perversion, that became distorted, used in a perverted way, that changed things, and then it was obviously seen as a bad thing and sinful. And I think this speaks to a lot of this. So in an act of sacred fashion, it's easy to get caught up in the distortions of how it has ended and is currently used in our society. I think this post puts it in a far better way than I could have. Now, moving on to the post. So, and I linked the original in my piece. Sex in Kemet was a ritual and not a recreational. It wasn't hidden, it was hallowed. Kemet is ancient Egypt. It's the oldest part of Egypt, and it's one of the many outposts or colonies from Atlantis. So Atlanteans spread out across to Egypt, right through Pakistan, India, up into the area which was originally Mu, or what we refer to as Lemurian territory, and right all around. They also went down through the side of Africa, which is where most people think of where Atlantis was after the fall, which in my memories is was one of the deaths in one of my lifetimes. I remember, as I've spoken in other videos about on this channel, if you want to learn more about Atlantis, that then went, they refugees, if you like, or people that hadn't already left, although there was kind of a, not a civil war, because it wasn't war, it was more a changing of opinion, so a breaking out of wanting to move away from what was in the home territory. But after the fall, obviously, you had the colonies, and Kemet is one of the ones people like Matthias de Stefano remember being a priestess in Kemet. We refer to it as ancient Egypt. It's the oldest part, and the temple of Atlantis is still there by the Sphinx. So when he refers, he's speaking about this particular time. Sex in Kemet was a ritual, not recreational. It wasn't hidden, it was hallowed. It was called Heka, Ka meaning soul, Heka, vibrational magic. When performed with sacred intent, it was Oh, this is really annoying. It keeps it keeps doing this to me. Sorry, just so you know why I keep going like this. Sacred intent. It wasn't pornographic. It was priesthood. It was a calling. So the act of sex was ceremony of divine remembrance, used to, and I just want to intersect here, in the book Grandmother of Jesus by Anna, I can't remember the surname of the lady, but if you look up the book, which sparked loads of realization and memories, I even asked guidance for that, and I had the spirit of the person that was being channeled to show me through her eyes that time for reference, and oh boy, some of the tasks they went through. Anyway, in that book she refers to where we like sacred conception, and when you're aware of a soul coming in. And my daughter, in particular, I had this with my daughter when she was born. I was aware when she came in. My son, I was aware slightly afterwards. And while he was growing in my belly, I could feel his energy, knew he was a boy. He told me he was a boy. So I could feel his energy and soul as it was growing. My daughter, I felt it as it came through me and as I conceived. So this is this kind of understanding. When that's done as a divine conception and your awareness of that, both partners are aware and actively working to bring that soul. So the act of sex was the ceremony of divine remembrance used to merge masculine and feminine energies, codes. We'd work in balancing the divine in this act, in this sacred act. And we taught how to do this as well. Activating dormant DNA strands, restoring, because to do this you had to be in your sovereignty. Otherwise it's, as I'll say at the end, and as I mentioned in the video with Milka Boss, which I've normally they're unlisted and they're on my Patreon, that one I've released on YouTube. Restoring the harmony of the Macht, the divine order. Transmitting spiritual data between partners. Telepathy is something that we will naturally start to move into, and some of us are already kind of working with this, especially when we're working with light language and light codes, because it's beyond words, it's vibration and frequency. It's like, and actually I think technology helps us understand this. It's data that's being transmitted that we are reading and interpreting through sound, vibration and frequency. Is what my guidance has told me anyway. And I mean, everything I say, I'm saying and I'm sharing because I feel it can be helpful. However, you need to, and this is important, everybody needs to do this. You shouldn't be just following aimlessly people and going, right, I'm going to follow that person and what they say is the word, that's it, that's the truth. You discern that truth through your being. You must always go within, look within what's right for you. Because some of this information may be relevant, some of it may not be. Whatever's relevant to you, whatever resonates with you, take on board. What doesn't, discount, because everyone is on a different path and a different journey. And that's part of our sovereignty. So, transmitting spiritual data between partners. This act was known to open portals, awaken ancestral memory, and reconfiguring timelines, not just pleasure of the body. The codex of truth about sex is not sin, it's not dirty, it's not shameful, but sex done out of alignment becomes distortion. And this is when we talk about, like, when you there's adverts and you think to yourself, even in terms of sexually transmitted diseases, you've got, every time you sleep with a partner, you're taking on board their energy. It's like everything is energy. Every piece of food and morsel of food you put into your body, by same definitions, it's the same. When you're linking with someone, it's even more intimate. You're taking on that energy on a really intimate fashion. But when you're eating food, if it's an animal, for example, if you eat meat, you're taking on board the life force of that energy, and therefore that energy goes within you. It's why it can be, it's one of the reasons I'm vegan, in fact the predominant reason. I resonate more with vegetables that are more photosynthesis for the light, and I ground myself with root vegetables that are of the ground. The energy of life force. As a child, I was sensitive to energy, so eating meat, I felt the life force and that distortion, and I couldn't have it in my body. It just, I was too sensitive. So I've always been vegetarian. I haven't always been vegan, but and that is preference. I'm not saying you need to do that. I'm not saying that to lead a spiritual life you have to do that. Everyone is different. I'm saying that's my personal journey. So where was I? So it's not shameful, but sex done out of alignment becomes distortion, because sex is not just physical. It is an energetic contract, a soul portal, a karmic trigger, a DNA ceremony. When two beings join sexually, their fields join. And when I speak about this, and when we've been working through the book by Milka DeVos, we've been talking about the figure of 8 energy. When you're linking your microcosmic orbits together jointly with intention, it's very powerful, and it's not something to be messed around with. You need to work with a teacher and understanding the energy, because otherwise, if that energy or Kundalini energy rising up, that's when you get Kundalini crises happening. The energy goes up to, it can cause migraines, headaches, and all sorts if the energy is off. So that's important to know. Where were we? When two beings, their sexual fields join, they merge memories, they swap soul debris. So hence, this is why, on a positive fashion in Kemet, we would use this for healing, because that person that was cultivating and understanding their energy was able to help with clearing through their own field and help with the rebalancing if the person didn't know how to do that. So you could do that. They had to be aware of it. It had to be something that was done, not forced, because that's when it gets into distortion and the energy is, I wouldn't say gets dark, because it's more about a rebalancing of the field and an understanding of those sacred energies, working with them in a different way. So swapping soul debris, activating lineage and karma, intertwining destinies, even temporarily. This is why underlining unaligned sex feels draining or confusing. Your field is processing data it was never meant to hold if you're not in a sacred union. So how should you look at sex? Sex is a mirror. It reflects who you are, what you carry, and where you're heading. It's a sacred technology, and like all divine technology, it must be handled with reverence, constant of the soul, energetic cleanliness, and clarity of intention. There is no bad positions, but there are distorted energies, shame, power plays, abandonment codes, traumas, replays, and rooted chakra corruption. And how to engage in sacred sexuality according to the codex that was written back in Chem is to know who you are before you merge with someone, and think of it as you are merging energies, and remember your energetic hygiene when this happens. So sex magnifies your field. If you're understanding emotionally, and if they're unstable emotionally, you're either collapsing into your partner's energy or you're dominating their energy. So it's about understanding that balance. And if it's done properly, then obviously you're both aware. So, for example, if my husband has had a bad day, I remember before I started to understand about this as a natural healer, it's the same thing like hugging my children when they're upset. You envelop your field around them to calm them, and if you're calm, if you're in alignment, your energy field is dominant, then your energy of love and compassion wraps around them and it lifts them because it allows their field to kind of harmonize with yours. Same thing can happen when you're with your partner, can be beautiful. If they've had a crappy, shitty day, that can also affect you if you're slightly out of alignment. And I still think, feel like crap now. He's feeling great because it's a given, all that energy. And then you think, okay. And obviously for the other person, this is where you get these dynamics and traumatic attachments and alignments energetically happening, because that person will keep coming back because obviously it's replenishing them. So it's important then for energy hygiene. It's like brushing your teeth or having a wash. Your energy field needs to be constantly moving in balance. And then you need to then have that understanding and that awareness when you're with another person. So first and foremost, always working with your own energy. So how to engage? So sex manifests, it magnifies. It's how we can use it for manifestation if it's done correctly. And also, I mean, in Qigong, for women, it's different. For men, they talk about how you mustn't even masturbate or have sex. I think they recommend every 10 days because it's spilling of the life force if it's not done with what they call sharpening the pole correctly and understanding the energy. It's wasted. Now, I understand that some people might be triggered by this, and especially when I'm saying, well, it's different for women because women's energy fields work in a different way, and we're going to that at a later date. The book goes into that. If you're interested, then on my Patreon site, there's Read by Tracer. I have like a series where we're talking through certain topics and certain books, and in particular that Milka DeVos book, or go buy that book. I'm not an affiliate, but I do love that book. I think it's amazing. So, this is annoying. Cleaning your aura. So you're not going to dominate their field, or you're not going to be dominated by other people's fields or energy, not just with sex, but in any co-creation of energy. So cleaning your aura, stealing your heart, being sovereign before you unite. Be aware of your energy at all times. Make that your priority. In doing so, think of it as a kindness, a courtesy. It's a bit like before you open the door for something, what are you going to be letting in? What are you allowing into your body? What are you putting into your body energetically? What are you eating? What are you feeding your mind with? What are you viewing? Because that, again, can affect you, as well as the energy of who you have around you, not just in your husband, your partner, but your friends, they say that who we spend the most time with, those 5 people are who we become like. So clear your aura, still your heart, be sovereign before you unite. Speak with intention. I always say to my if we're going to come in, join, I'll say, right, with the energy of this, because we're not creating a child anymore. We've got 2 beautiful, blessed with 2 beautiful children. So for us, where's this energy going to go? Into healing both of us, into benefiting both of us for the good of our relationship. So that then life force is recycled. Declare what you're opening to. This is not a game. This is not escape. And this is remembrance. Your body remembers how to create a life. There's a coming together, especially if you're with your divine partner and your counterpart. And there are different people, different everything is divine plan. And I'm not saying, so say you're someone that has walked through a journey that might have had lots of partners, for example. I would explain to get clearing of all of that energetics of those histories that you might have in attachment within your own field, to clear that for yourself, like a purification ritual or on an energetical path spiritually, however there's different ways of doing that. And then having the intention for someone that you can have a divine counterpart relationship with, someone that you are on balance with, that you're drawing that to you, for this to be something that you want to have if you're viewing this video. Declaring that. And then also, of course, it's about pleasure. It's about healing. It's about union. Timeline realignment as well, because of the balance of the souls coming together. Entering through the heart first. So in tantric practice, one of the basic principles is to put your hand on your partner's chest, on their heart, and them to put their hand on you, and to look through the eyes of the soul, to be looking into each other's eyes, and to start to match their breathing. So you match the breath with each other, if you're listening to this for your partner. Timeline realignment, entering through the heart. Sorry, I already read that. Foreplay starts with the eyes, as I say, matching with the eyes. Touch begins with attention. Hand on the heart takes it to heart focus. You're connecting to their heart chakra. They're connecting to your heart chakra. You're connecting then energetically through the heart field. Hence why I'm saying this can't just be done with a complete stranger. This isn't something that's what leads into more toxic, distorted energy of sex. One of the things that came out when I was in Egypt is we were talking about the root field of the earth, and how that is now realigning the root chakra. That's to do with sex. That's to do with how sex has been viewed, how sex has been used and abused, and not used to its highest potential, not in alignment with how it was meant to be and how it was created. Moans are not dirty. They are the language of dimensional shift. Sound your truth. During union, sync with your breath is the most important thing. Syncing with breath, whether you're in union, whether you're with sex or not, breath in general connects us to our being. It's one of the keys to aligning your body. We do this often in meditation, and there's plenty of videos for meditation, breath work on my channel, and meditations, obviously. Heka, the power for words, can be whispered to embed intention into the body. Heka, ka, ka. That means soul, 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 calling in the soul. If you're not someone that is more verbal, if you're someone that's more visual, what I visualize, my divine connection before I even go become in union with my partner. So I'm calling down the highest aspect of me, rooting and grounding that in, so I'm in alignment. and visualize seeing them do the same, whether they're doing it or not, whenever you are with someone. So then you're calling in the highest aspect of them. Not that you can do that for them, but your intention is to meet the highest aspect of them, whether they're connected to it or not. Obviously, if they're connected to it, then that is much better. It's going to work much better. And if they're doing the same, then this works. But if they're not, if you're with someone, for example, that is not spiritually aware, they're not wanting to do that, maybe for them it's more about sex, they're going to be rooted in the distortion aspect. So they are, and men in general tend to work upwards to meet that energy rather than it coming down. Not always, just in general, and that is a bit of a generalization. The others may be a man that is doing the same, drawing that down. But if you hold the intention that that's what's going to happen, then you're then aligning with the highest aspect of your partner on an energetical sense. So you are utilizing that intention. So end with gratitude. Be grateful for your body, for the pleasure it gives you, to their body for the pleasure it's given you. Again, you're aligning with that energy. The blessing the act, as it's a sacred act, it seals the gate, so you can't have any distortion energy, because especially traumatic or like abuse or any sexual distorted energy can be fed off in negative energies, can feed off of that and that's why there's lots of occult activity around that energy if the things aren't sealed and it's not done properly. This is an act of sacred being. It's not to be used as and abused as it has been. And it's time for us, when we stand in our sovereignty, to take that back. It's a powerful, beautiful, sacred act, not one that as it has been used and abused over the centuries. Hence blessing, thanking your partner, their body and their spirit, their highest aspect. So misaligned sex, the truth and the dangers. When sex is used to avoid emotions, control others, fill a void, bypass loneliness, it creates energetic backlash. Sudden guilt or detachment, hormonal confusion, so-called entanglements, repeat trauma links, so people get stuck in that then as well. The sin is not the sex itself, it's the distortion of the disconnection of the truth. Sex is not just climatic, it is Genesis, the union of two souls, two scrolls, I think that's meant to be souls, to birth a vibration the word has never seen. And in doing so, when it's coming from that high vibrational connection, it allows for these higher, really beautiful souls to flow through in conscious conception, which again is another video. But I thought I would talk through this because it's something that's needed to be said. I think people don't think necessarily that sex and religion go together. In fact, because I'd have to agree in the fact that the distortions in our reality and the perversions on an energetic stance do a lot of damage. That energy wastage, for example, can be fed off of. And so how do you get back? Now, I can speak, as I have done in the past, as someone that's had abuse, had that sexual trauma, reclaimed my sovereignty, healed from that, allowed myself to move past those distortions. What was the word I remember hearing, and I thought that's beautiful. If someone has that trauma, and you're a partner that's coming together with a woman who has come from a place of trauma, patience, first of all, intention, being open and receptive to the highest aspect, allowing. But at the end of the day, we are all responsible for our own energies. And in order to heal, we must first allow ourselves to believe we're worthy. We, of course, are, all of us, but there's this energetical, as I say, debris that can get, and loops that can get stuck in that and in the field. So to finish this, I'd like to end with a little mini meditation. What did I entitle this? The Truth About Sex. So grounding in a global intention for the purification, because with the full moon today, I thought it would be perfect, of a letting go of all of the energies that are on the earth. Now, I'm not saying you need to do them all, but as we start with our own, so however many partners, maybe you've been with anyone. So if you've never been with anyone and you're still virginally intact, then your intention could be for any of your partners, your husband to be, your future fiance, whoever, boyfriends, to be with the highest intention for both of you. But for those that have had partners in the past, we're going to look at any attachments that we've had from coming together with someone and clearing it and letting it go, letting go of those issues and sending back through healing, because you have this physical attachment where you've been linked energetically. It's kind of like water of energy in the universe. You tip a cup of water into that cup of water, you can't get it out, can you? But what you can do is clean and purify that whole of that water. So by purifying yourself, you're purifying any of those attachments. And when I mean purifying, I don't mean gross rituals, I just mean the intention of being in perfect alignment with your highest being. So let's do that now. Let's put our hand on our heart, one on the belly, upper mid-dantian. And I'm going to allow myself to connect to my car, my soul, and for light language to flow down through me. What I mean by light language is my soul will express frequency and vibration through sound. Don't worry about, oh, what does that word mean? Or this sounds a bit crazy. Your brain's going to go, I want to know what that means. And that it doesn't mean anything. It's frequency, it's vibration and sound. And I'm just aligning to my soul and being in alignment with my soul and acting like a mirror, like I would through any relationship. And as I do so, as a mirror of my own sovereignty, reflect that to you. You can then do the same with yourself. You don't have to do anything. You can just be in a state of being with your breath. As I said, we connect with breath. And I'm going to ask you to breathe in for a count of 9. If you can, hold for a count of 9 and release for a count of 18. If that's too much, because that's quite intense and more advanced, then just breathe in for a count of 9 if you can. And then slowly releasing out through the nose. So you're in your sympathetic, we're not in the fight or flight. Releasing and feeling safe, feeling whole, feeling connected. Are you with me? Okay, let's start. So I'll start with the breathing with you before I connect. Calling in my guidance and Black Cat Guardian Order, which is what I call the energetics of sacred space. Okay, breathing in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Slowly out or hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Release at 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Repeat. Hold or slowly release. Keep whatever breath you're doing going. Releasing. It's my releasing of how I'm seen, people's views. For those who like imagery and symbolism, I'm feeling presence of Isis. Also presence of energy of what we call Arcturian. Mary Magdalene. Arama. Ayuhatayakta. Ihano tukteashkniata. Nektok norknishkna. Irukturukturukshknia iruktushknoshna. Ikturukturishknia tiraktatakta. Nirukturushknia shknia totok aishko aitikorokumana. Just maybe you have visuals, maybe you want to express sound, allowing yourself to connect to the divine aspect of you, whatever is in accordance with your own belief systems, but allowing a clearing. And I've asked for the intention of any attachment for past partners to be cleared. I'm asking my divine team, a divine essence that speaks through the vessel that is this body, that's in this incarnation on this moment in time, to speak of and through me. Thinking of the technology of our fields and aligning, a shifting, a repurposing of energy distortions to be going into like little white bubbles opening up and coming, being cleared. Think of it like bubbles, literally bubbles, soap. We're allowing the energy, the frequency of this high vibration to come into the field like soap, to wash, to clean, to allow to be shifted and loosened, released. Other words, beyond words. Trapped memories, past experience, past life, and this life. Past indiscretions of ancestral lines, all coming into alignment. Calling in ka, so that for every relationship moving forward, including past, present, future, because we are outside of time. Heka, heka, ishirakta, hekta, ekoro maya nani anuroknai, within the sacred union of two souls coming together. For their being to be in the highest alignment, anchored in this reality. The sacred union. So for trust, for compassion, for love and kindness. For what I'm calling sexual divine codes. She said my body needs to be comfy. Feel the alignment, the line, the holla, like a spotlight. I call it the lightsaber. Just feel your body, a pole of energy that's like a bamboo, grounded, rooted, anchored with the earth, high energy flowing down, that is the highest for humanity, in its highest form, in your soul's highest form, even through the fields, like rivers running through the earth, the rivers flowing through your body, the energy. May the rivers of the earth and the rivers of your energy flow with loving life force, all pollutants, all toxins being first amplified where they are, and then shifting, dissolving, clearing and transmuting. Energy does not dissipate, it transforms. We are setting the intention for all transformation within all fields, within all fluids, through life force, energy, through the life of the planet, the blood of your being, the blood of life, and the blood of the earth, to run clearly, purely. The core, the flow of the water that flows up, as we talk about in microcosmic orbit, the circle, the infinity of life, and the fire, the passion, the joy, the love, bubbling, warming, but gently, not fiery, burning, bubbly, blah, blah, bubble bubbles, that type of thing. Instead, this gentle, this sencho, gentle, inlined, intentional flow of energy directed, for puring, for aligning, thy highest intention. And breathe that through you like a filter of the air of the earth, in the same way the water droplets in the sky, the air particles, the elementals, the elements of your body that make up the compound of your being and the compound of this earth. As you breathe in air and you breathe in the ethers, your soul, your being, Maharaka, Yata, Heka, 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 Heka. I embody Eachura, you say, you embody, which you embody your own intention. I embody the highest aspect of that which we refer to as God, Goddess, the essence of the divine feminine, the essence of divine masculine in all of us, the gold frequency, the silver plasmic light entwined within the DNA of creation. I stand in my sovereignty, in perfect harmony and balance, able to move fluidly, manifest fluidly. I am grateful for my being, for my history, and all those past partners, all those past relationships, experiences, all of the above. I'm feeling a resistance here. Any resistance is coming free intentionally. I am open and receptive to the highest aspect of myself. Self-being, the being that is this most alignment of humanity. Anchoring light here in this moment, in this vessel. Demonstrating, magnifying, with every relationship. I'm feeling that shift. Feeling through my field any resistance, allowing you to do the same as I demonstrate doing me. This can be any resistance to things like our abundance codes, not just the sexual distortions, but anything, grief, sadness, anything that's stuck, stagnant, water flowing again. I feel the mass in places, in the energy fields, in the earth. Within me, within my being, from past, present and future, and I clear it, I wash away the unnatural power of earth, moon, stars, galaxies, of the creation of life force flowing. My touch, my voice, my body, my being. I shake free of roots of trauma, past, present, future. I hold in my heart and magnify my soul's being and frequency to mirror, to activate through myself, and as doing so through others, as seeing, as witnessing, compassionately witnessing them, they compassionately witnessing me. I'm thankful for this sacred space, for remembering my sacred union, my masculine, my feminine, and when I join that with another and their masculine and feminine. I am thankful. If you feel emotional fields plumbing up and mental fields coming up, just shake through in the body, in the nervous system. You can tap through. I've got videos that can help with this if it's quite a lot, but just tapping gently on the forehead, along the eyebrows. We're just going to tap round and follow it all the way round to the top of the chin and around the eyebrows, then coming down again, rotating round, tapping round the eye, and then down the side of the nose and under the nose, into the middle of the chin, coming down and tapping on the thymus, just on the sternum here at the chest, coming across to the lung points. May we breathe freely and sort of imagining breathing in beautiful, loving rainbow light, expressing, coming down under the arms. This is an important one. If there's resistance, then this is a good one to stay. And I'm sitting, but if you're standing, you can rock from side to side. That will also help with resistance. Any stuck energy within the body, tapping down the side of the legs and then on the knees. And we're going to tap just under the knees, little points there, the vessel, and coming and sweeping down. And if you can, if you're able to do so, if not visualize, you can do it after the meditation, just tapping the soles of the feet, babbling brook. We want that anchored, grounded energy coming through clearly. Nice deep breath in. If you've been doing the breathing all the way through, then just allow your breath now to subside into normal breath, easy breath. Qigong breath is in through the nose, out through the nose, in through the nose, which you probably may well have already been doing. Slowly opening your eyes. Wow, I was just expecting to share a post, but my guides had other ideas. They said you need to give them a clearing for anyone that feels they need it. So hopefully you can do that anytime you need to. And another practice that might be helpful as you're coming back and you're acclimatizing, I suggest you drink lots of water. That was quite an intense activation that we just did that I felt like I went through as well at the same time. Just breathing in, breathing out, allowing the water. When you drink the water, say thank you. So, and the next time you're with your partner, remember, match breathing, intention for your higher self, their higher self, to come together in union. May all unions be no longer just coming together in distortion, but coming together with the highest of intention, whether it is to create a life or just for pleasure and union with two souls meeting. Be safe, not just practicing safe sex, which I highly recommend, but also safe energy, just as important. Love and blessings. Thank you for your time. Let me know if this is helpful for you. I think I was kind of directing mainly at women, but this is for men as well. This is important for anyone that is looking to work with their divine sexuality. And everyone talks about the rise of the feminine, but I personally have felt that this is the rise of the divine masculine, a falling away of the toxic masculine that we've had. And as the rise of the divine feminine, you need the rise of the divine masculine. It's not all the feminine is too much. That was what failed Atlantis. It's all balance, harmony of both. Not control, freedom. Age of Aquarius is about individuality, understanding that we are unique, beautiful, divine individual beings, and allowing that to flow, but also to evolve, to link, to grow, and to continue to grow. Thank you for your time. I'm Tracer Jande, Tree Heart Art Design Authentic, or Love Authentic Me, YouTube, Facebook of the same name. And as I said, if you are interested in joining Patreon, there's links on the bio. I think it's the price of a coffee. I'm not sure how the exchange rate for dollars and pounds. And there's loads on there. All my workshops I put on there, or I do a monthly energy report on there. I do the Qigong practices on there. There's I have slowly been releasing on YouTube. I did a whole year of Qigong back in 2022, and the older videos when I was doing my training, I have started to release if that's something that interests you. And obviously, kind of diverse channel really that I do on here. Also, our card readings, which I use as a tool to connect. But my goal is to help a billion people at least, in some way, shape, or form. So if you can help me by helping yourself become your divine, sacred, authentic you, then that means I've done my wish, my intention. So yeah, and my Patreon's there so I can help me financially to continue to do this. So that would be a blessing. But thank you for your time. Let me know in the comments if this helps and how you're feeling after that.